Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A happy Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout, presented by Two Hoots Hard Iced Tea, a Boulder Real Brew Tea. Don't just give a hoot, give two. As I was about to start the show today, all I hear was Jay say, we took our shirts off today, to Zach to come as they came in, so that caused me to laugh. Matt Iwanyk, Wil Fraser, Shawn Belle with you here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. On the show today, we will qualify someone for that $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golftown, as well as we've got the qualifying opportunity for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. Your thoughts always welcome. 780-218-9999. That is the Parish Jewelers inbox, or you can jump into the Nasty Chat. Boys, how are you?
I'm good. You?
Doing
Shawn?
fantastic.
It's great. It's great to be. I was just on, and we spent the first 10 minutes talking about Usyk Fury,
Yes.
because that's all I wanted to talk about. So let's start again. Deontay Wilder gets his career ended by Ji Lee over the weekend. Did anyone see it?
I saw the highlights.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the highlights
I
too.
saw the knockout.
Yeah.
I don't know how the ref allowed him to get that last punch in, to a degree.
Well, it's not the ref's job to tell him to face. Like if you're a boxer, don't turn your back on your opponent, man.
Don't you call it at that point? Like,
Yeah, the guy's running. You might want to be like, hey, enough's enough.
he looked at the ref. It looked like he looked at the ref like,
Yeah,
hey, can you call
I
this?
think the ref was like,
And that maybe
dude, go
that's
down
where
on
you
a
just
knee. Take a knee if you want to take a knee, but it's not the ref's job to.
okay. But then yeah, Wilder, like, there's. I didn't even know he was having a fight this weekend
Well,
until I saw the knockout.
This was him trying to figure out if he wanted to make one more push, and he showed up. I think he weighed in at 217. Like
really?
He weighed in, I think, 5 pounds less than Alexander Usyk did, and Usyk is a welterweight. Like, Usyk at least put weight on. It looked like Wilder didn't even lift a weight.
So it almost seemed
coming
like
into
Wilder was kind of disrespecting his opponent.
Well,
Kinda
it's like
got what he deserved.
Oh yeah, over as usual with Wilder, just believing too much in his power, right?
Yeah.
And not realizing that he was going up against a 8-foot tall Chinese giant who walked around like a zombie the entire night, but like took every punch Wilder had, and then found his spacing and just like ghosted him. Like, that's as bad of a knockout as you're going to see in the heavyweight division. That was wild. So thanks for letting me say that. I felt like it was a real good bookend that we talked about a great moment in boxing and then one of the saddest.
So what's next for the heavyweight division in boxing then?
It's the rematch of Usyk Fury in December.
Let's see. Like,
Why?
well, because it took them 9 months to have the first fight, right? Like, Fury is not getting any younger. He is not known as a good trainer. Like,
Yeah, but they've got lots of, like, what would stop this from happening in December? They've committed
any
a date
sort of-
and they've committed a place.
any sort of a cut or
Oh,
like
you're thinking
that's-
injury or something.
Yeah, that's
okay.
what I mean. Like,
But it's planned
yes,
right
but
now
it's planned.
in December
Yes.
rematch
Yeah,
Usyk
yeah.
Fury.
Okay, so then what else is next? Okay, so like who's the next star in the heavyweight division?
That I don't know.
well, I think
trust-
the heavyweight division right now is trying to figure out if, first of all, is Usyk going to stick around? Mm-hmm. It, like, after his rematch, after he makes all the money in the world and has proven everything he needs to prove, does he stick around? Because if he does, it complicates things.
Okay.
Because it's you're kind of sitting around going, well, who is the next big name? Because he's defeated them all, right? If he does retire, then the next question becomes, does Anthony Joshua want to push, right? Everyone thought that Joshua was done. Usyk beat him twice. And then his last rematch, he took on, who's the former MMA guy that scared Fury? What was his name? He had the match against Fury and stumbled Fury. Fury ended up beating him.
Oh, I forgot.
I can't remember that. I think, isn't he French?
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Nagano or
Nagano.
Yeah, Nagano.
The Nigerian Nightmare.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
and
him.
Anthony Joshua destroyed him. And so now everyone's kind of going, okay, well, maybe Joshua's getting serious about this.
Yeah.
If he is serious, then it becomes whether or not he can make another run at it. And then if not, then it's once again it's a reset.
Francis Ngannou probably has a push because that's how many career boxing matches he had? 2?
3, 2 or 3.
Yeah,
you're right.
so you're probably thinking that, okay, maybe this guy's going to make a push.
Yeah.
And he could become potentially the face of, that heavyweight division.
Yeah. Well, it's just that Anthony Joshua took him seriously and humiliated him. Like showed that he couldn't box, right? Like it was just one of those things where it was like, oh, this is a guy who spent his entire life boxing versus a guy who can throw heavy bombs, right? And listen,
maybe Kimbo Slice needs to come
right, exactly. Like it's interesting. Like the Tyson fight is now up in the air because he was suspended.
Up in the air. It's been postponed.
Yeah.
That fight's never getting rescheduled.
Who would have thought?
I'll say that right now.
Who would have thought having literally a guy who's about to get his seniors card would have problems as far as getting him.
Yeah,
I
through
still think he would have
the
beaten
medical
Paul.
process. I do too. It's just the guy's clearly on so much testosterone replacement therapy and every other chemical they can put into him.
I thought it would have been a draw.
You do, hey?
I do, 100%.
Legit draw or like?
Oh no, not a legit draw.
They would have called
if
it.
Tyson was like serious about fighting, and it was a serious fight. Tyson puts him down in 2 rounds max,
easily.
But
there's no punch Paul's going to get that's going to knock Tyson down.
You think it's rigged?
I think it's 100% rigged.
Yeah, that was my biggest worry about it all.
Because it became almost a bit of an exhibition match.
It is interesting.
The gloves were like a little bit more. They were 14-ounce gloves as opposed to normal 12. Like, really? So what is that trying to do? Okay, well, that's softening the punch.
And slowing the hand speed
the hand speed down, which, who does that benefit? Paul.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah. It's interesting. Roy Jones Jr. has put his hand up in the air, saying, "If you want, I think I could be ready in a month and a half if you want
to take on Paul."
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Kimbo Slice died.
Yeah, years ago.
I thought you knew that. That's a wild comment by me. Then let me take that back.
I don't think his estate's coming for you. Don't worry about it.
2016.
I don't think Kimbo
Sean,
Slice.
It's
offside.
been like 8 years.
Red card. Holy! You guys didn't want to say anything?
Well, I wasn't going to call you up, but I also thought maybe you knew.
I didn't know.
I thought you knew, and you're just making some kind of comment or something.
To be wow, that's just
okay.
To me, that whole sort of Jake Paul sort of idea in boxing, it is all the Kimbo Slice effect, right?
Yeah,
like it's that this whole it's a big scary looking guy. Let's throw him in a ring against someone who can actually box and see what happens. Like it's interesting. It was the WWE that did it first. Do you remember that? They had their actual WWE fighters have a tournament where they boxed against each other, and then the winner of that tournament got to take on Butterbean.
Oh boy,
I do not remember this.
And if you want to see the scariest knockout in the world, YouTube that at some point today. Butterbean again. I can't remember who it was, but he ghosts him with an overhand right that you're like, oh, the police should probably be called because that was a murder.
Bart Gunn.
Bart Gunn, that's who it was. Yeah, Bart Gunn got murdered
at WrestleMania.
Oh boy,
XV. So that's 5 or 15.
Yeah,
I think that's 15.
Boy.
So I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
No, it's I like the reason I go to it's rigged too though is I watched the Paul Mayweather one.
Yeah,
and it was a draw. And it was just like you watched Mayweather, and you're like, dude, you're not.
He wasn't even trying.
You're not going for anything here. This is all just you're rigging this all for the payday. Good thing I found an illegal stream of this, and I didn't pay for it.
Yeah. So he wasn't trying, and he was still winning that fight against the bigger, taller Paul that should have had all the advantages because of his reach.
I wasn't going to watch that fight if it was happening, Tyson versus Paul.
Oh, really?
I was, because I was just like, this is stupid. But then Trev out there, he's like, Paul's going to win. And, and it's just like, no, he's not. And then there was this argument of like, Tyson, if it wasn't rigged, is going to destroy Paul. So then it got me into it because I want to be like, take that.
That's because Trev's balls haven't dropped and he hasn't seen Tyson at his best. Are you kidding me?
I would have thought Tyson wins if Tyson doesn't have
shots at dead guys and Trev.
If Tyson doesn't have a
you
heart
really need that
attack
coffee today.
Oh man, apparently I do.
Yeah.
Can I have a 2 Hoots to cut the edge off?
If Tyson doesn't have a heart attack getting to the ring, I would think Tyson wins. It's just Man, the training that he's going through, that's hard on a body.
Well, then you have the whole plane issue.
Yeah.
With where he's in the wheelchair being wheeled out, and you look at the photo, and you're like, you're an old man.
Yeah,
like you're
exactly.
like, oh, geez, you're being wheeled into your home right away.
Well,
like,
I think he was it Joe Rogan where Rogan was talking about the one scene of him doing a sprint and stuff like that, and it was Tyson who was like, "Yeah, I was in bed for the next 2 days after doing
100%.
Yeah, like I can't do this. Like I'm in big
Who
trouble."
thought it was a good idea to put a 60-year-old in a ring with the
Pauls?
Like
the Tyson people around Tyson because he needs money. Apparently, that's
Yeah,
my guess.
Sure.
That's who Netflix.
And there's a lot of money.
well, there would be.
A ton of money available. Yeah.
I just don't. I'd be very intrigued how the money breakdown of that would work. Because if you have Netflix, you get to watch it, or we're able to watch it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a pay-per-view where
Right.
you have to specifically buy it, and so then they could split the money, divvy it up. I'm very intrigued how that was going to play.
can they just go away? The Pauls, can they go away?
They'll be here for a long
well,
time.
Jake Paul actually. I'm going to give him his flowers for a second. He's
Jake?
in the WWE right now.
No, that's-
and
is
he's,
it Jake or is that
no,
Logan?
it's
Logan
Logan
Paul? Yeah.
Paul.
Because he's also Prime, right?
Yes. So he's doing well. Like Prime, he's in the WWE. He's doing well. Cool.
Yeah.
It fits who he is. Jake
And he's
Paul,
actually the better of the two fighters, of the two brothers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jake Paul, like, just go. Just out.
Or actually go do it.
Or just be a
Go
real,
get-
or try to be a real boxer.
Yeah, go get in the ring with some real boxers of lower levels and work your way up like everyone else does.
Yeah. That's not how it
Go
works.
fight and go get
It's
that.
not how the world works.
Go get that undefeated streak where then you are worthy of taking on a top guy.
It's like
Because then
saying
people would make it credible, and like people would actually want to see. Right now, it's a spectacle of Tyson. Like, what did Tyson do? Tyson's going to beat you up anyway. So, like, you don't have
Unless
any
it's rigged.
credibility unless it's
Which
rigged.
we're sitting there going,
But guess
unless it's
what?
rigged.
Most of these fights have been rigged.
Yeah.
Like all the guys that he's fighting right now, like really, it's guys that are not even remotely close to their prime. And I don't even care if they're former UFC guys or not. They were past their prime.
Yeah. Well, it's
They
No
interesting.
take
pun,
him
no pun
beating.
intended.
It's interesting that he chose a lot of former UFC guys. To me, it just highlights how much those athletes are ripped off by Dana White and the UFC. Right?
Yeah, that's true, too.
Jake Paul comes along and says, "I'll give you pick a number. I'll give you $5 million."
Yeah.
And a lot of these UFC guys are like, the most I ever made was 500,000 on a
Yeah,
fight.
I'll go to sleep for 5
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
right up on the payout
Yeah.
for UFC fight cards.
Yeah, it's
It's not
ridiculous.
a lot.
No.
Whereas the boxing payout, like especially if you're the headliner,
Yeah.
you're getting a guaranteed money usually of a certain
And
level,
then a cut.
and then you're getting cuts of pay-per-views, and you're getting certain levels. And that, again, if that's one of the things where even McGregor kind of was screwed a little bit out of that because Dana and UFC took some of his fight
right.
with Mayweather. But he got a massive payday that he doesn't get or didn't get with the UFC.
And he's
I think at one
invested
point
it
in
well.
UFC, yeah. But I think at a
Real
point with UFC, like he was getting maybe for a main event, I want to say like 2 million.
2 mil, yeah.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
There was no extra money coming. He got 2.
Yeah.
Whereas when he fought Mayweather, he what was it, 80 mil, I think, or something. Because I think Mayweather got over 100. I think he was 120 and
Yeah.
Mayweather was like 80.
The split wasn't 50,
equal.
yeah, it wasn't
But nor should it be for that fight with Mayweather
Yep, I agree.
versus McGregor. But yeah, well, isn't McGregor getting back in the octagon too here?
He's trying.
Wasn't there's a fight.
We'll see if he can get into the ring, right? Like the toll it takes on the body to get fight ready is almost worse than what it takes to be in the ring. Like it is just
Michael
it's
Chandler
hard.
in June.
Yeah.
This month, McGregor versus Chandler, June 29th.
Yeah.
So
Is this his last fight, or is he done after this if he loses? If he wins, maybe he keeps going.
well, if you win, I think he would keep going. Why is he fighting Chandler? Is there a reason? Like, I don't know if there's a beef or something between those two.
I think he's fighting Chandler because it'll
Pay him.
pay him. It gets clicks. It
So
gets
then,
views,
if
right?
you win, why wouldn't you keep going? I'm trying to see if I can find his
He's an
records
old
here. Here we
man.
go.
Because you kind of it's almost the Anderson Silva conversation.
His last fighting was 2021.
Anderson Silva and his run made him arguably one of the top guys in the UFC.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to see him. He almost was like a legendary status.
Yeah.
He probably fights 3-4 years too long.
Yeah.
Loses almost every one of those fights. Who talks about Anderson Silva now?
Yeah. And he was a legend. At his prime, Like
Like some of the things he was doing to poor people, like it was disgusting.
his finishes. Like
You guys remember Street Fighter?
Yeah.
And you had that Egyptian guy, was a Dulcima.
Yeah.
And it's like,
He
I'm
was
going to
doing the
kick
same
you
thing,
all the
yeah.
way across the screen. And you're like, how? I'm in the corner.
Yeah.
He was doing the exact same thing in real life to people. It's like, where did that kick come from?
Yeah.
And he was unbelievable. Like, it was almost like the betting status was almost, how long is this guy going to last?
yeah.
And then he just too long. So for McGregor, it's the same thing. Like, sure, you have this fight coming up, but after that, like, you still have your, you know, your nostalgia almost. Like everybody knows who you are. Like you're still revered as one of the best that's ever stepped into the ring. But if you lose this fight and then you go on and you lose another fight and then it just keeps
Well,
going.
I think if you lose, you got to stop.
But
at some
okay, but
point.
we're talking about
winning,
paydays right now.
Yeah.
And even on the winning side, like Will's already talked about it, where it's like the toll on the body. Like, how much really do you have left in the tank?
I mean, what was the big controversy about Silva late in his career? It was that he got caught using PEDs.
Yeah.
And it's not that he used PEDs to get where he was. He was using PEDs to try and stay.
Yeah.
Right. And so, because that's just, as your body ages, it just can't recover the way it could in your 20s and 30s. So, I mean, that's what I look at with Tyson. I'm like, how many drugs is that guy on just so that he can get up and train as hard as he needs to train?
Well, it's done. It's not happening.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I always believed the fight was going to happen in July.
Yeah.
But then once I saw him picture in the wheelchair, then postponing to say, we'll announce a later date this year. I was like, yeah, no. They're
it's
not
done.
They're not going to announce a later date. There's going to be just a press release in like 3 months' time.
Yeah.
This fight's been canceled. It's not happening. Like, okay, fair enough.
Sweet.
It would be better to see actually Tyson in front of a microphone going, guys, I tried. Like, my body just can't do it. I think
Well, the
everyone
last time
would...
behind the microphone, he said some weird comments.
Yeah. He's always been known to have some weird comments.
No, this one was the worst.
Did you see
This one was by far the
Because this was the
worst.
Jake Paul press conference. Did you see what he said?
No, I did
Okay,
not.
He said some outrageous
It was-
things in his life. Some that I think are so outrageous that are actually kind of borderline funny.
Yeah.
This was the most offside comment I have ever heard. And this minute he said it, I think he realized what he said. And he was just like, and nobody laughed. It went
No.
dead silent.
It was. I want to see if I can find it here, and I want to read it.
Man.
Because I have to read it again to see if I could rate it on air, because I don't think I still can.
I don't know if you can, but it all starts because Jake Paul is chirping, and he's talking about watching Tyson videos or something like that.
Yeah,
And then he's like,
yeah, I'm not
funny
saying
you
that
say
one.
that because I was watching you at, and then it goes from there.
Yeah.
Holy man.
It was. Yeah, the headline: he makes bizarre confession to Jake Paul. Like, that is the thing. Like, just go read it. That's the thing. There, read that. Not on air, but read that paragraph right there.
This is good television.
And
That's what this is.
This is radio too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's there's that one paragraph. Do not read it on the air, because I'm not putting that one on the air. And now picture Tyson saying that.
I'd have laughed. But I'm twisted.
Exactly. Like, and you should just see him as he's saying, as Bellsy said, like, you sit there and you watch him, just like, and he's got those teeth, and he's just like trying to chuckle it off, and you're just like, what did you just say, Tyson?
Like Tyson.
Key and Peele have a whole sketch about that. Have you seen that Key and Peele where it's the two boxers getting ready to fight, and the one guy's like, I'm gonna kill him, and the other guy's like, I'm gonna make love to him.
Oh, yes, I've seen that actually.
Oh my gosh.
I wish Key and Peele was still a thing. I wish they brought that back, because they came up with some amazing skits.
Yes, they did.
Continental Breakfast. Obviously, there's the football ones. The start of the East versus West Bowl game.
Yeah.
AA Ron, the
Yep.
substitute teacher. There's just so many.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to read it on the air, but just go Google it.
Yeah,
Tyson
Tyson's
press
gotta
conference,
do it.
Jake
Somebody's
Paul.
got to do a compilation of Tyson's most ridiculous things that he's ever said, and I'm pretty sure this would be at the top of the list.
Yeah. That's funny. I would have laughed. I would have.
Yes, you would have
belly
been in that
laughed in the
room.
back row. Tyson would have saw me and just been like, he gets it.
You would have stood up. Yes, yes. Why is no one else laughing? That's funny.
Yeah. Oh boy.
This is the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots Hard Iced Tea. A reminder, you can join us August 23rd, 24th, Ritchie Community League for 2 days of 4v4 street hockey. It's all in support of the Edmonton Food Bank, thanks to the Northern Edge Athletics. They are putting this on. Licensed event featuring beer garden, silent auction, skills competition, other entertainment. To register your team of 9, go to Northern Edged Athletics or northernedgeathletics.com/tourney, or go to edmontonsportstalk.com. At the very top, it says charity hockey tournament. It's charity street hockey. Click that one and it will take you right there. You're guaranteed 7 games throughout the course of those 2 days in the summer. Now, should we get to the little Oiler talk quickly?
What's
Should we
going
get
on?
to that
Right.
one?
What's happening?
Let's get to Hangout Headlines, which is brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Offering premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. The Ranch Golf, the choice to go to and to be at for your golf round this season. Book your tee time now at theranchgolf.com. How you guys feeling? Does this bring you back to memories of 06?
Oh, big time. And so in 2006, my oldest kid was he was just born. And so that was the spring of my wife was busy with a newborn baby, and I was busy just covering the Oilers. And I'll never forget that moment. Is it just me, or do you remember it that much? You were a young
06?
kid.
I was in grade 10.
Yeah, you were young.
No, I was grade 10.
That's young.
That's not young. I have full memories of that entire run.
Do you remember the car parades?
No.
Oh,
Car
yeah.
parades.
Guys were doing up their trucks.
Oh, I remember seeing cars. I don't remember them parading around.
Oh,
or
yeah.
something.
And they would just basically, before the game was on, not even if the game was in town, just before the game was on, they would be driving around the city.
I remember seeing some oil derricks in people's trucks.
And so I just find it interesting, that, this time around, it's the dress up, right? The amount of people that are showing up, in group costumes and stuff like that. Man, this town just knows how to make it special. And memorable. It's probably good that it was 18 years ago, because I think most of the people from then have finally paid off their credit card debt from then.
No kidding.
So they're ready to put on another 18 years worth under their home equity
This one
loan.
won't be 18 years. This one's going to be 30 years. The pricing.
Without question.
You're right. They'll have to do the extended mortgage. You're right.
This is going to go even double
one.
for this one.
But funny story. I almost became a major story in that 2006 run.
Did you have a Mike Tyson press conference moment?
No, it was middle of May, and my kid was being baptized. And so
See, now that's young.
So we are off to church. It's 9 in the morning, and I'm coming down Connors Road, and because it's Sunday morning, there's no one on the roads. So you are always doing 20 more than you should be. And I'm coming.
Did you almost take out?
I'm coming. Yeah, near Fritz's ski house.
Uh-oh.
A jaywalker just out of nowhere just trots across it, and I have to come to a hard stop, enough so that we make eye contact, and I make eye contact with Raffi Torres. Who would go
None
on?
of that
Oilers will be without a
surprises
Raffi
me.
Torres tonight.
Who would go
hit
on?
by a car by a local broadcaster, Wil
Exactly,
Fraser.
yeah. Who would go
Amazing.
on to speaking of ghosting? Do you remember that he put on a hit in that San Jose series and annihilated
McCulloch.
Yeah.
Milan McCulloch,
Which would have, today would have been a major suspension. At the time, a celebrated hit, drilled him, got the head, took him out, changed the series.
changed the entire series. Yeah, and so
What a time, hey?
I always think of that.
Target his head. Let's see if we can knock him out of the game.
Yeah.
Done.
And
But that was Raffi Torres.
That was
man.
Raffi Torres.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of guys like that.
He was also the king of the reverse.
The reverse hit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one could time it better than Raffi Torres. Guys would think they had him lined up, and all of a sudden he would just spring like a jack in the box on these guys and dust them. That's what I remember from that. I'm sure there's Connor McDavid doing a beer. By the way, Why is he doing a beer run? I think it's great that he was, but I just don't know why.
Well, is this for a team party, or is him and Lauren just having a nice time?
I don't care.
A lot of beers if they're just having a nice time.
Why is the
Stocking
guy
up for the week?
Why
Doesn't want
is
to
the
leave,
guy-
doesn't want to
I'm
leave the
never
house
gonna leave
all
again.
week.
I'm never leaving
I'm
again.
stuck in this house for the
Why
entire
is the
week.
guy with the C on his chest doing a beer run? Like, I thought that's what the Black Aces were for. Like,
No, they don't hang out with the Black Aces. The Black
they don't?
Aces are off by themselves.
well, they can
They're,
at
in,
least
they're in another hotel
they
somewhere
can at
else.
least get you a beer.
But they wouldn't go party with the team.
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because you're not part of the team. The only guys that are partying with the team are the guys on the roster. Unless you were
Would
like
Jack Campbell be part of that?
unless
Would
you're
he be?
he's on the roster right now. He's on the playoff
okay.
roster.
I see.
So playoff roster guys travel together. If you're in the Black Aces, you're off somewhere else. So like for example, when I was in Minnesota,
So what is that, a 25?
yeah, so it was
25
just
man
it was
roster?
me, Joel Ward, Josh Harding. We were on the playoff roster for the Wild, and so we traveled.
Yeah.
We were down in Anaheim. We were doing all the things there. All the Black Aces weren't even in St. Paul. They were actually at like 30 minutes outside of the city at another rink, and they skated there by themselves. You weren't associated with the team.
Sounds like such a sad story.
Why are they?
The only time you were associated is if somebody got hurt and they're like, you here.
Why?
That's what it was like.
Why? Like it's like that just seems
Did
so
John
weird.
Tortorella come up with these rules?
This was
This seems just
this was
horrendous.
Jacques Lemaire.
Oh, he's a nice man.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
was he, I don't know. Was he a nice man to play for?
Well, he was very much, if you're a rookie,
Yeah.
like you better show up every single
Sure.
day. There is no days
Earn your
off.
spot.
Earn your spot.
Yeah.
If you're a veteran, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a great quote. Man, I miss him.
Okay, but if there's a party at like Connor's house or something, the Black Aces still wouldn't show up.
Unless they're like good buddies with these guys.
That's weird.
Well, so think about, okay, so back in 06, you had all the Black Aces. Where were they always partying?
I don't know. I was
They're
too
always
young.
at the Iron Horse.
Yeah.
Who were they with? The Black Aces. They weren't with anybody
Yeah, yeah,
else.
yeah.
And the only time that there was ever an interaction between the Black
Interesting.
Aces and the actual players is when Stoli and Torres and all those guys would roll into their little corner in the I-hole. So they never crossed
Interesting.
paths outside of that. It might be different now.
Okay, but so now back. So where's Vinny Desharnais? Where's
He's
Philip
rostered.
Broberg?
He's a
No,
roster.
to get the
Oh,
beers
to get the
for
beer?
Connor.
Yeah. Like,
Well, this is
hey,
what
If it's
I
not
mean.
Black
yeah.
Aces,
They're not
where are
Black
those
Aces.
guys?
Go get them.
Like, it feels like there's 24 guys on a roster today going, why is Connor getting his own beer? Like,
100%. The captain, my captain. But like, come on.
We screwed up.
Where were you?
like are they all going up to him going, Bud, like, you need beer. I will buy a truck and get it delivered. Like,
Connor could have went to the rink and said, hey, I need beer. And Studio 99
Yes,
would have delivered
like-
a flat and said, put it right on
This
his
is
car.
like for this-
See you later.
And it's
Where
not like he
were you,
ordered-
Connor?
And it's not even like he ordered this like obscure stuff that you have to go to a specific
it's
store for.
Coors Light.
It was Coors Light. It was Molson. It was a White Claws.
like,
Just very simple that you could get at any
Oh,
liquor store.
man.
You could DoorDash that or like Uber Eats that one if you wanted to.
I feel like he's like, oh, no, I had a coupon. So just stocking up for Canada Day, guys. Like, it felt like that, right? Like,
I was like,
Each Sunday, he has a ritual every Sunday.
Yeah.
He's stocking up on some extra drinks before this big party.
yeah, exactly.
Lauren, I know we won, and we got to go pick up some stuff.
Guys,
I think of the whole
It's a
video. I'm
2-day
just
sale.
concerned about where he was. Like, why were you there?
yes.
I'm not even worried about the fact that he went and got beers.
Yeah.
Where were you in the
Yes, this
city?
is just it. I'm like,
Well, when you're looking at it's a weird parking
Yeah,
lot because there's like nothing else.
Yeah.
There's nothing else there. Where were you, Connor?
Yeah.
And why?
Well, maybe he found that location that no one knows, which is good for him. But somehow these
not
other
anymore.
guys found it.
Those
And
days
they
when
made it
Connor
worse.
forgets that he's Connor McDavid in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Right?
I still go with what Gager was bringing up a lot yesterday. And it's, how did those guys not even offer to help?
That's the other thing.
Like, how do the
He
guys
sat on the car.
How's the guys
Get off my
filming
car.
their?
Get off my car right now.
But it's like you see Lauren, like at the very least be a gentleman, and Lauren's like got all these white claws.
Yeah.
Do you need some help? Do
Right?
you need us to help you load this? Like, do you no? Okay, good. We'll walk away. Or yeah, okay, we'll help you load this in. Like, where's the offer to help your captain
Yeah, if you're going to sit on my car, pick up that thing right now.
and put it in my trunk?
Yeah.
Help me out.
You want a picture? Pick up the beer.
You know, if I'm Connor, I'm probably a little more likely to be like, yeah, do you guys want a picture after? If you've taken this, you've helped me
I would
load
have handed
this.
him that beer case. You hold this. You want a picture? You're going to hold that for a second.
Goodness.
Take it to my car.
It was less creepy than the picture from across the parking lot, though. Like, that would have been the worst sort of like the creeper in the bushes following Connor
boy.
McDavid.
Yeah, that's
Like, at least they were enthusiastic and like their
but it
minds
was
were being blown.
It was so outrageous.
He will have
like because you don't treat people that way.
Yeah, I know.
No,
Like that
in
was
general,
so
that's
outrageous.
It's just such a weird
Yeah.
thing in general.
Yeah.
But now Connor's gonna have security for the rest of the playoffs. Guaranteed.
for sure. He's never doing another beer run.
Well, this is just it. Like, I guarantee, like the entire organization must be like, what is going on? Like,
A
how
lot
did
of
this
people dropped the
happen?
ball in this one.
Like,
A lot of people across the board.
Like-
Jeez, our captain was out there getting beers a week before the playoffs, and
Like,
all
we
these
gotta
guys
do
are around
better.
him.
We gotta figure out how to
geez,
do
how did we
things.
screw this one up? The team going, why is our captain getting all the beer? And
Oh man, that's great. Just outrageous.
Yeah. A good scene though. Like as far as see, I truly believe that all of this is just the story that's being told. Like whether they win or lose this time or whatever, like it's all just this long sort of arc. And so these are just great little moments. Like I've been to enough of like the remember whens when they tell these stories to see it happening in real time, like realize that 15 years from now these will be the ridiculous stories that get told.
What did Connor hate more? This most recent one?
Yeah.
Or the photo he had to take in the airport
Yeah.
the most recent photo at the airport.
with the little older couple?
Oh, that's the older one. That picture. Because he had another one recently at the airport.
He looked miserable in both.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which one he looked more miserable in.
I will say the most recent one because we saw how long it went.
Yeah, it was a long
Let's just
And they're like, I'm still surprised he didn't at one point just be like, guys, one picture and then bleep off,
Yeah.
or something. Like, let's go.
let's just admit
There was an
something
invasion of space on
Fiance is
both.
here. Like to me, the big
Yeah.
part is fiance is there and
Yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah.
Like family's there now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back off.
Let's just say this about Connor McDavid. He's not a people person. Like, nor is he supposed to be. Like, that's not his job. But not a people person. Like, I'm not a people. Like, I know exactly how he's feeling, right? Where it's just kind of like I'm not going to be a jerk about it.
You know
Like,
exactly how he's feeling.
Well-
you've been a people have come up to you at your
No.
car, Will, and they try to film you.
I have had people stop me in swimming pools with my kids. Yeah, I haven't had the Connor McDavid effect, but I have had
had that one.
the random like, hey, you're Wil Fraser. You're not as fat as I thought you were. Like I've had that.
Not anymore, especially.
Thanks, I guess.
Thanks, buddy.
They should see you now.
So like I understand when you're not like when this is just like the opposite of like Dustin, for example. Is there anyone who loves people more than Dustin Nielsen? Like he loves people. Like the more
He relates
the
to
merrier.
everyone.
He relates to everyone. And Connor McDavid is the exact opposite, where it's just kind of like, I do a specific job better than anyone has ever done it. Just let me do that. Like I'm not gonna be your prank monkey. I really don't even want to pose for a picture. Just let me go and be the greatest hockey player to have ever played. I mean, debate's out, but we'll see what happens.
Wow. I think in the end he'll go down as the most talented player ever.
Well,
I think
it's
that's already
the case.
there.
I think that's
but
already the case.
I think, well, this is where I want to go to with the next thing because Connor's going to have heard these things. Did you guys see the columnist Greg Cody?
Well, how
Those
could you
comments.
miss it? That's all TSN ran with yesterday.
I didn't watch TSN
Gino
yesterday. I'm
Reda-
not going to lie. Actually,
Gino
I did watch
Reda-
it. I watched their CFL preview like all for like an hour and a half, and that was it.
I think Gino Reda threw it at everybody associated with TSN. Like it seemed like TSN was the most upset about it than anyone else. Like
For those that don't know, Greg Cody, longtime columnist for Miami
see, and I
Herald.
just don't think you should even say
and
his
the Dan
name.
Lebitard show. I always like him. I like him on the Dan
No,
Lebitard
I'm
show.
just
He's
saying
great.
it's
so
just a
He's
troll.
public enemy number
It's
one
just
now.
a troll.
But it's I think this is if I'm Paul Maurice, I'm pissed off today.
Oh yeah,
If I'm
he
Paul Maurice
just
and the
gave the
Panthers,
best player in the world
I'm just going,
bulletin board material.
Jesus, what did this guy just do?
Yep. But
And if I'm Chris Knobloch, which I don't know if he has this in him, but if I'm someone else on that staff, that's being posted in everyone's locker with 5 of them in Connor's
I'm
locker.
exaggerating everything. But Connor, did you hear that this guy called you a blank?
yeah.
So the quote was,
exactly.
Connor McDavid's overrated. Boom. He puts up big, impressive stats. Yes, fine. But should we really call him generational? Called the best player in the sport when in 9 seasons he has yet to lead his team to a Stanley Cup. He has the requisite nicknames, McJesus, the chosen one, but he has not proved beyond stats, transcendent, able to lift the franchise to ultimate heights. McOverrated.
And here goes the nasty chat.
Well, it just seems. You're right.
It seems counterintuitive to what
It seems
your
like
team, I
McDavid's
guess.
agent paid him to do it. Right? Like
Just get McDavid pissed right off.
Like this is
so
the
he
hot
comes
take
in.
that you take after the Oilers lose. This is not this is not the hot take you put as they're heading into a Stanley Cup final. Like it's a premature hot take is
And
what
look,
it is.
there are going to be a lot of Canadians now who are clicking on an article, Miami Herald, and they're getting
That's
some extra
what I mean.
clicks.
Like, it's
but
just
in
the
end,
Twitterification
you're not
of
getting
things,
that
right?
much out of it. You're getting a day. It's not like you're getting a bunch of subscribers for Miami Herald.
Well, this
and
guy-
you may have just pissed off the Florida Panthers.
But this guy becomes public enemy number 1. Everybody starts talking about him. They're not talking about the Chuck anymore. Got to think about it a different way. So he just took a lot of heat. Everybody's like, whoa, what did you just say, man? Who's now talking about the other guys from Florida? Nobody.
Sure, okay, but you've got Connor who might now have like overrated, huh? We saw a guy.
Like I said, if I'm
and
not
Connor
black, I'm like, hey, man, that guy called you blank. Are you going to take that?
Just making them up. Just keep
100%, yeah.
No, it's like I do believe that 2 years ago, Austin Matthews got the Maurice Richard Trophy with an incredible season, and then last year I feel like Connor was like, "Oh yeah, watch me."
Yeah,
and he went out and he got his own scoring title or goal scoring title. When he sets his mind to something, he will go get it done at a ridiculous level.
Sure.
Now you've got potentially Connor McDavid being told, "Yeah, you're overrated." Oh, am I now? Okay. Well, he's also already motivated in my mind because he's going for legacy. He's going for that ring that he does really need, though. He's 4 wins away from getting that ring.
Well, this is just
and
it.
now you've also just added, the fire was there inside Connor, and Greg Cody came and said, "Here's some gasoline," and then just splashed some on, put the jerry can in there.
It just
100%.
And said, "Have fun, Connor. See what you can do."
Yeah.
Make overrated and walked and ran away.
It
and
feels-
Paul Maurice and the Panthers are sitting there looking at McDavid, and you're gonna have to go, "Oh, we've got to put this out."
It feels like he has hot takes like pre-written, like kind of like how newsrooms have death announcements pre-written, right? For major celebrities, they have them already
You've got
written.
obits.
You've
done
got
for certain-
obituaries already
TV
done.
stations already have things pre-done, ready to go.
so that you have it ready. It feels like this was a hot take that was ready to go in when the Oilers lose, and he accidentally hit send early. Like that's what it feels like because
Crap, this wrong article.
Oh man.
Because it feels
Oh, they ran with it. Crap.
it feels like it's out of place, right? Because I mean, McDavid is leading the league once again in scoring in the
And he's
playoffs.
hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And he's not playing at 100%. He just pulled
you
off
could
the
be
most
generational.
incredible goal of his career in a series clinching game. And not only that, but it was a series where he also scored the game-winning goal in game 1 that set the Oilers up for the success that they found. So it feels like he didn't mean to send it when he sent it. Like he just wanted to have everything organized so that after the end of the series, he could just hit click, 5 times, and his work would be done for the
Update
week.
a few things. Jump in
And
there.
so-
Grab.
It. Other than the fact that he became the story, and in today's day and age, in today's media environment, that's a very important thing to do. You can't just report anymore. You have to be a part of the story to get people to pay attention to you. Like you said, I think the angriest man out there is Paul Maurice.
I'd be livid.
Yeah.
I would have read that and just immediately geez.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, and the defensive corps as well for Florida, who just saw Miro Heiskanen get humiliated in a series clinching game, right? Everyone leading into that series was like, man, Miro Heiskanen's going to win a Norris someday. Like he is one of the best defensemen in the NHL. And now the highlight reel for the rest of his career is going to include that moment.
Him getting danced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not just danced, but facing the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, like it's just the word. Like, and no one blames him. No one thinks they could have done better, but it's still going to be his jersey that everyone sees.
Yeah, you just got put on a poster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a great place to be. And I'm sure every Florida Panther defenseman is sitting there going, I don't need to be on anybody's poster. Like, not in that situation. Thanks a lot.
Well,
Like,
now it shifts as well because everybody's talking about Forsling and Ekblad and how well they've done through their first 3 series and taking on the top lines. I think it's zeros across the board, 5-on-5.
that's right.
So now here's the challenge. Well, we're going to shut down McDavid. Are you sure about that? Let me pour some fire on this. And you just took one of the best defensemen in the NHL, made him look dumb.
Yeah.
Tanev at the time when we went into the series, everybody was talking about how good Tanev was defensively. Well, look what happened.
Yeah.
So I agree with you guys. There is some serious gas being thrown on that fire. But yeah, it's good luck, guys.
I mean, listen, you are right. No one's worrying about Tkachuk right now, but that's because Tkachuk just hasn't played yet. Right? Like,
Yeah, but
like Tkachuk will take care of the headlines all by himself.
He was very dismissive. Do you see his interview yesterday? He was a little bit dismissive in trying to add fuel to the fire. He just was like, yeah, it's going to be an intense series and, they've improved and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So he was trying to like push things down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because obviously this is the biggest storyline. It's the former Flame who was a thorn in the side, who was a turtle, who was doing all these different things. Massive storyline. But I just find it weird coincidence that while everyone's talking about this storyline, this absolutely ridiculous, and I mean ridiculous
Hot take.
Gets leaked.
Yeah.
And it's not even leaked. It just got dropped.
Yeah, just put in the.
It got put out there.
just-
So like in my head, I'm instantly
published.
like, wait a second. It's like everybody's focused here. Now this thing happened. Everybody's like, wait a second, what about this?
Yeah.
But now we're not talking about this.
Yeah. To me, the thing that should be talked about with Tkachuk, like, if I wanted to stir the pot in national media, the pot that you stir with Tkachuk is like, this is the team that you ran away from.
100%.
What does it feel like to still have to get through them?
Well, in
win
the
your
end, to go
Stanley
get
Cup?
your cup, now you have to go up against the Oilers still.
Like you had your chance to
But
go
do you
head to
wanna
head
piss
against them.
off-
They humiliated you, and you ran away.
But now
As
the question
far away
is,
as you could.
does he need that motivation? Do you want, like we say with McDavid, he got that. He's now getting that little added motivation. Does Tkachuk need that added motivation? Because he's been one of the best players over the last couple of seasons. Straight up, you take Connor and Leon out of it, he's in that next category of top players of the last few seasons.
I agree, but to me, you want to get into Tkachuk's head. You want him taking dumb penalties. If you're the Oilers,
But
you
does he still
wanna
do that?
I haven't anymore.
Because and that's
I think he's
I haven't
grown.
watched the Panthers really this year. So I won't comment as if I know. But I can't remember. Somebody said yesterday that they saw Paul Maurice saying he's grown from last year to this year.
He's grown tremendously over the last 2 years.
But is there a way for the Oilers to find Tkachuk all of a sudden trigger him to go back to old Tkachuk?
This is why you say things that would stick in somebody's craw, right? By being like, "Oh, you ran away from us." It seems to me like this Oilers group is so polite, and it's working for them. Being the polite, respectful team, it's working for them. But you do wish there was a bit of a jerk that would step to a mic and go, "Yeah, I
That's
think
because
it's."
Kane, I don't think has had a mic put in front of him yet. I won't lie. I don't think I've heard from Kane. So there's the guy.
Of all the guys, he's not the guy that's allowed to talk.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
I don't think we've seen him at all. So because if there's a guy that's going to make a comment, it's probably him. Well, Leon did speak in German yesterday or a couple days ago or something.
Connor was just like,
So maybe
What
he
are
said
you
something
saying?
there.
he didn't.
if
Do you speak German?
I understand a little bit of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
he's been sworn at in many languages.
100%. 100%. Oh. How many ways can you say you suck? No more.
Matthew Tkachuk's in our nasty chat.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
He
was
says,
nice of
I
her.
ran away from the Flames because they suck in Calgary. The city is a dump. I run
my.
from no one.
Oh,
Yet
my.
you just started that by saying I ran away from the Flames. So to that troll that's trying to have fun with that, you kind of spoke out of both sides of your mouth from one sentence to the next.
Yeah.
In the end, you're saying that you at least ran away from the city of Calgary because it is a dump, which I won't go as far as saying it's a dump, but it's not that great.
Wow, hot take from Matthew
Oh
Iwanyk.
boy,
Calgary.
here comes a Calgary fan.
not that great.
I'm not gonna say they're a full dump. I'm not gonna rip them that far. But I don't know. As I've said before, the two best things that I've ever been told about Calgary is the mountains, and they have a great airport that flies to a lot of places. So it's two reasons to leave Calgary.
It's true. Hey man, you don't have to convince me.
No, I gotta bring up something. Why do they get to claim the mountains?
Because they could see it from their
Oh,
house.
that's cool. Yeah. Just because they can see something
Yes.
doesn't make it mine.
Well, but that's the thing. That's my point. So they're claiming something that is away from them, and you have to leave them to go enjoy.
Yeah,
Really.
We can't. Calgary, you're not allowed to take the mountains.
No,
that's
that's what
not yours. That's why it's called Banff.
No, that's what they take it.
Or Canmore.
They take it.
Well, if I'm
Or
And I'll give them
Kananaskis.
I'll give it to them. But that
No,
means
they shouldn't
that
be
means you're
allowed to have
leaving
it.
Calgary to enjoy the best part about Calgary.
well, this actually, I think Calgary's onto something. Like if I'm Calgary Tourism, I'm like, we are an hour and a half away from the mountains, and we're 3 hours from the Oilers. That's how I just.
claim the city.
That's what the city is, eh? Yeah. It's a destination to get somewhere else.
We have 6 Stanley Cups. We have 1 with the Flames and 5 from 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
You should see how many great cups we have.
We're city of Calgary. We're great at claiming anything else.
Exactly. Yeah. If you come to Calgary, it's unbelievable. The border's only 2 hours away. Like,
You should see the fishing and the golfing in Montana.
yeah, exactly.
It's right there.
Man, that's
It's
amazing.
right next to us. It is wonderful. And you want to? We've got these great football fans that are Rider fans, just a little to the east of us. Great time at Mosaic.
Yeah.
Come join.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy Calgary.
Enjoy Calgary. It is so easy to get out of this city. It is. It's really
There are so many great things
Yeah.
within a 3-hour radius
Yeah.
of the city of Calgary for you to do.
Our new ring road allows you to completely avoid it. We put billions of dollars into making sure that you don't have to enter the city.
Their ring road sucks.
That is so good.
I once did South Calgary to North Calgary because I knew Deerfield was going to be a mess.
Yeah.
It took over an hour to
Oh,
do
they
half.
just completed it. It's pretty good.
Not when I went the east way.
I mean, for avoiding
it was like
Get me
you
as
go
far away as I
so
can from the
far out
city.
of the city
Yeah. Yep.
as you're driving around it. Like the Henday, I could probably do the whole thing in like 50 minutes. There was an hour from one to the other, so I would still have another hour to go to do the whole city.
Like if all you want to do is go from Airdrie to Cochrane, that ring road's incredible.
You get basically
Or even
skip
an
Calgary
Oka-
to go
yeah,
to Banff.
even an Okotoks
As you go
or
to
a-
the metro Calgary, which is Banff, you could just go that way. They have the biggest metro in the world.
Yeah, it's
it's
huge.
just this massive radius. Calgary.
Yeah.
We're a
I
subdivision.
love
of
it.
I will say this. I have been watching a little bit of Calgary media these days. Like
What Calgary media?
it's
Like their news?
Yeah, their online
Okay.
presence and what have you. That's a tough town to be in right now. Like that's like when I use my empathy, I just sit there and
It's
go,
quiet.
oh,
It's
like
quiet
that's
there.
hard, man. Like to be sitting there going, so what's the Stanley Cup final? Oh, great. Yeah, no, it's Matthew
Oh.
Tkachuk versus the Edmonton Oilers. This is a tough June to be a Flames fan. Like this is as tough as it gets. Like, and they're all sitting there going, yeah, maybe Tigaghenla can fall to us at number 9, and the rest of the hockey world's like, that kid's he's not going past 6, right? Like,
If you're getting a new rank,
eventually we'll see, right? Like,
they've got that. The stamps are going to suck.
yeah, like,
Well,
am
I supposed to be sorry?
oh, you're supposed to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Like, you are supposed to enjoy
it's
it.
Yeah,
one
you're
of the
supposed to
reasons
take your shots right now.
I
Yeah.
really loved when the Oilers got McDavid because it's like I was imagining being that Flames fan to everything you're saying, but at
Yeah.
that moment is
Yeah.
like especially if you're an older Flames fan, you're like our team was the second best in hockey. but we had to go up against the provincial rival, and they just dominated us. And now they get Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
They get the next greatest player, basically. That team, like McDavid couldn't go to not even Calgary, but couldn't go to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Couldn't go to Winnipeg. Couldn't go to San Jose. It had to be Edmonton. Really?
Yeah.
Really? And now this is what's being done.
And then after they got McDavid, he smacked us around with his German buddy.
Yeah.
And destroyed the team.
And
And
ruined
then
our
destroyed
team.
the team. And then we were so hurt that we traded one of the best players in the league for a bargain basement top player in the league.
Well, but that's all because he wasn't going to resign. So
I fully understand
Gaudreau
that
to
part.
leave, trade away
But-
Kachuk, and also destroyed Jacob Markstrom as a goalie because you saw what he did the next year.
All
And he
you
was
did
awful.
with that trade is you said, here, Florida, the one thing you're missing, which is a little bit of sandpaper, we'll put you guys right to the Stanley Cup. And then we'll get Huberdeau, who is not, and let me repeat that, not a Daryl Sutter player. So Sutter goes in there and destroys
Ruins his confidence.
any confidence this poor guy has. Now he's sitting on the bench as quote unquote a fourth liner. And then you bring in Kadri. He's kind of the same. And your franchise is in shambles to the point where you now have to trade everybody.
Well, they had stars and they brought in complementary players,
Yep.
right? Like Jonathan Huberdeau he's probably going to have a situation similar to what we saw with Matt Duchene this year. He's eventually going to find his way onto a better team with way more depth, and he'll be wonderful on their second line, their second unit power play. He'll get his 60 to 70 points, and everyone will love him because he'll be below the radar. Kadri was at his best when he was that number 2 center who just had to have a specific role, which was drive everyone else crazy. Don't drive us crazy. Drive everyone else crazy. And then that's just, you don't build your team around guys like that. You have a team and you fill in a team 100% with guys like that. Yeah.
Those are your deadline acquisitions.
Yeah.
But then not only did all those things happen, but then Craig Conroy makes some of the most ridiculous deals. The one that he sent for Hanifin to Vegas.
I will say, I will judge what he's done so far. I'll have to be a few years from now to see what he does with all these picks and things he's done.
Fair enough,
Hey,
but
that's the one
the
thing I need
trade, if you look at it right now, the one that he sent Vegas or Hanifin to Vegas for, like, it's outrageous. And like, what were you thinking, Craig? I'm sorry.
Wow. And then on top of that,
The Tanev one.
Well, no. He badgers his starting goaltender into releasing his no trade clause.
Oh, yeah.
And then doesn't trade.
There was legitimately a trade set up to go to New Jersey, and he didn't pull it. He didn't execute it.
So I guess with the Hanifin, they get Miramanov, a first-round pick and a conditional third. We've got to see what that first ended.
There's more parameters on that trade, though, that you got to find.
Hanifin was trading a 3-team deal to Vegas Golden Knights, and this is just Wikipedia. I'm just grabbing it from there. In exchange for Miramanov, a first-round pick, conditional third, while the Flyers received the 5th-round pick from Vegas for retaining half of Hanifin's salary.
It just feels so much like Edmonton Oilers circa first rebuild try.
Flames retained 50%.
Right? Where you were just trying to throw stuff at the wall, right? See what sticks. Maybe something will happen. Yeah, we'll bring in this reclamation project. We'll bring in this guy who has question marks. Maybe it'll click here. And it's just one of those things where it's like Kuzmenko, right, for example. He'll probably get paid in Calgary and then disappear, right? Like this, once again, not a guy you build a team around.
But he was producing more than, because that was, what deal was that one?
Was
that the
Lindholm
deal?
Yeah.
He was the stats at the end of the regular season is he produced more than Lindholm for the Flames.
Absolutely,
So-
because he got first unit power play time on a team that didn't care about winning, right? Like guys like Kuzmenko will score goals. You won't win hockey games, right? It's
They're
just
the ones that are celebrating the hat-trick goal in an empty netter, but their team's last in the NHL, and they just happen to win a hockey game.
we can debate about analytics and their usefulness, but I do find score effect to be a very useful stat. And so it's like when your team is down 5-2 and that guy scores the 5-3 goal in the third period, like is that goal of any purpose in a 5 or 6-3 loss? Like, who cares who scored the third goal in a losing cause, right? Like, and that's the problem with players like a Kuzmenko, is that they'll take advantage of soft minutes. Hard minutes they will run 100%. Scared from. Like,
so that trade, there was conditions on it. So this is from Frank Cervelli. Hanifin 75% retained.
And so 50 was from Calgary, 25 that would have been from Philly.
The Flames get a conditional 2025 first round pick. Miramanov, conditional third round pick to the Flyers, and a 2024 fifth round pick. Condition is a 2025 first unless Vegas trades it this deadline, then it becomes a 2026. Condition a third upgrades to second if Vegas wins one round in the 20.
Yeah, no, the Flames lost all the conditions.
Yeah.
With Dallas not going to the Stanley Cup Final and a few others, there was a lot of conditional picks that the Flames could have gotten, and none of those happened.
Yeah. It's tough.
So
very tough.
But again, I still need to see where those picks end up being, and that's because the Flames were always just going to be in a spot. They're in a full rebuild here. It's not about winning now, and they got that Huberdeau deal that now they have to deal with, and they've got the Kadri deal that they have to deal with.
Can you trade Huberdeau?
I don't think you can. That's the problem here. And if you're looking to trade Markstrom now this offseason, like, what do you have?
Yeah.
Well,
you're
you can trade Huberdeau, but you're bringing back somebody else's problem.
Yep.
Right.
And
like,
you're having
the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade rumor is out there, right? Like, that's who you can trade Huberdeau for. Like,
right, but that's the thing. So
I'll keep Huberdeau.
Yeah.
It's the Flames are in a tough spot where it's for Conroy's that you're just trying to get rid of some money right now and burn this team as best as you can. Because you also don't want to be a playoff, like that middling playoff team.
Yeah, correct.
The other you need to drop right off, and you need to, even if you're going to have Huberdeau on these bad contracts, you want Neasley to be in that draft lottery in the top 5 for the next couple of years to hopefully get a couple top-end players that you can then build around.
Yeah, but they don't have buy-in from their ownership, right? Like, that's the other problem, is they're going to get bad. They're going to get worse organically, not on purpose. Because they have an ownership group that meddles, that steps in and kiboshes trades and doesn't give their sign off on certain moves. And so he is GM, but he does not have final say. And so it's hard for him to have any sort of like, here's my 3-year plan, when halfway through the first year, ownership is like, no, we've won 5 in a row. Let's go make an addition.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's time for us to load up because maybe we can make the playoffs, which is just, like I said, they'll get bad. It'll be organic. They'll get bad because this is just how it happens. We saw it here in this town as well.
Yep.
They wanted to rebuild, but they wanted to do it within a 4-year window.
Yeah.
And didn't realize how bad you're going to get and how long it takes.
Well, yeah, but they also did themselves a disservice by not bringing in veteran players. Like, if you were to watch Crosby when he came into the picture,
players,
that's
and,
the point.
And like the Mark Recchi's need to be available in the first place, right? Yeah. And so that's the luck part of it, right?
Well, Ginla the 1 year was available, and you got to move heaven and earth to go get a Ginla.
I remember that. I agree with that.
He's sitting there, and you're saying, "Hold the phone."
Yeah.
Why aren't we getting that guy who's arguably one of the best captains?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an Oiler killer for decades, but like that would have been a perfect person to bring into your dressing room to teach all these young guys this is the right way to do things. And you probably would have accelerated your rebuild.
I agree. But luck is also the big part of it as well, right? Like you have to get lucky with the available talent in drafts. And we saw that go both ways for the Oilers, right? We saw them pick in the most talented draft with the most talented player. We saw them do it twice in a row, getting Draisaitl the year before in a very deep draft. And then we also saw the Nail Yakupov draft, where the only reason that's still not talked about is because you look at the draft and you're like, who were they supposed to take?
Yeah.
They didn't pass.
It's all train wreck.
Number
They were
2
taking
wasn't
Ryan
him.
Murray.
Yeah. Like,
but
it wasn't until Daryl came in and said, nah.
But it's not like you're talking to Brian Murray, who was now a Norris Trophy winning defenseman in this league for a number of years. And, well, you missed out on that one.
Yeah, no. So that's
it was just a bad draft
part of the luck.
Yeah.
You have to be lucky with the free agents that become available. You have to be lucky, and you also have to be lucky injury-wise. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The Oilers would have been in the position they are right now 3 years ago if Oscar Klefbom doesn't get hurt. That Oscar Klefbom injury
He was very important to this team.
completely set that defense back by 3 years.
Yeah.
Because
Fair.
Klefbom was ready. He was at that position in his career. What was he, 27 years old? He had played his 400-plus games. He was just developing into that minute-munching defenseman that you could put out there in all situations, and his shoulders gave out on him.
Well, the last season, McDavid got hurt for a little bit, and the team was fine for a few games. And then he got hurt, and they were bad for a couple games, and then COVID hit, and the season shut down, and everything happened after
And
that.
the Oilers didn't replace him until they made the trade for Ekholm.
Well, but then they also lost Larson.
Larson one hurt too.
Yeah, it was back-to-back summers, basically, in a sense of losing a top defenseman.
And that's
hurt the
that's
team.
luck as well, right? So that's the other thing is you can have the best plan in the world. To quote Mike Tyson on it, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And the Oilers got punched in the face, and there goes your plan, right? So we'll see what happens.
And I don't think they were prepared for that at all.
Right, yeah. What are you supposed to do? He's on the best with Klefbom, he was on a $4 million a year contract. It
was a good deal.
Playing like an $8 million defenseman, right? And it wasn't until I don't call it luck with Hyman. I call that good pro scouting. But it wasn't until they brought in a Hyman who is now playing like a $10 million hockey player at $5 million.
No one saw this from Hyman. I will say that. No one saw this ceiling.
No,
But they saw a very talented player for a few years.
You would have
and
said this guy could be a 20 to 30 goal scorer. Could be probably on our second line.
Yeah.
He'd be doing well.
This is just
But they
been
did
ridiculous.
see the intangibles.
Yes, they did.
They did see a guy that at $5.5 million they thought was a bargain at $5.5 because of everything he was going to bring to that lineup, and he did. And sure enough, when you have those kinds of intangibles with the high end skill that you get to play alongside, you're going to score a lot of goals.
And he gets to go up against his old club in this Stanley Cup playoffs and the finals. This is the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots Hard Iced Tea on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in iHeartRadio as well as those watching on YouTube. Matt Iwanyk, Wil Fraser, Shawn Belle with you here. We will continue this discussion, but want to qualify someone right now for the VIP table at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, July 12th through the 14th at Kingsman Park, featuring Shane Gillis, Andrew Schultz, Kevin Hart, Bert Kreischer, Whitney Cummings, and more. Schultz and Gillis, they're on the Sold Out Friday show. We're qualifying for the Saturday with Kevin Hart. Tickets still available to Saturday and Sunday. GreatOutdoorsComedyFestival.com. And Alley Cat, the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Fest here in Edmonton, so you can enjoy the 6 o'clocker lager while having some great laughs at your VIP table. All you have to do is just qualify by texting us, 780-218-9999. Let's go Tyson. Text in Tyson to 780-218-9999. Tyson. Later on in this hour, we'll qualify somebody for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golf Town. They'll take place July 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club on the 17th hole, 180 yards away. And do want to remind you that portions of this hour brought to you by the 2024 Olinka Gretzky Cup. It's coming to Edmonton this summer. Rogers Place will play host to the best U18 hockey players in the world, August 5th to the 10th. 7-game, 14-game ticket packs available at Olinka Gretzky Cup.ca or Ticketmaster.ca. It is a great time for the city of Edmonton.
Does Tig Ginla still qualify for that? I don't know if he'll play, but I know he's the youngest kid at the top of this draft, so he might.
He might.
Yeah.
But
Are we looking
I
for-
couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Tig Ginla, if he's still considered U18.
He's 17. His birthday is August 4th.
I don't know.
So
I
he
don't know, I'm
might
not sure.
just miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the tournament starts on the 5th. And since he's 18 on the 5th, maybe it takes him out.
I know that
Perhaps.
that's the reason why a lot of GMs are kind of salivating about him. It's not just his pedigree, but because he did what he did in the second half of his WHL season as one of the youngest kids out there.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can find anything on it. Does that happen a lot to somebody who's...
Well, it's based off birth year.
yeah,
but-
so...
Isn't it September?
September's kind of that cutoff.
30th or something like that is the cutoff?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I guess we'll find out in the next few months here. Reminder, Edmonton Riverhawks, they're back in action, or their home opener this Friday down at Remax Field. We've continued with Riverhawks baseball here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Later tonight, the Stingers unfortunately fell last night. They're now 4-1 on the season. Lost the good close one to Vancouver, who are now also 4-1 on the season. So a nice tight battle at West. And the Edmonton Elks. Get your tickets now. GoElks.com. Ticketmaster. It's the 75th season. Go support the Elks, and it's a perfect time now, 2 o'clock. Head down to Commonwealth Stadium. watch some football, and then go off and get ready for game one. You could also join Jay Milne and myself, Green and Gold kickoff and post-game shows live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge all season long. We will be there this Saturday, 1 o'clock, the Green and Gold kickoff show live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. So pumped that CFL season's back as well. Also, had my CFL draft this week. I killed it. I have a great team. Lucas, Eric, talked about it yesterday. Lucas, Eric, and McCord screwed up mightily, and they just let me build a great team. So,
Do you put that on your dating profile? Like, did you find like
3-time champ?
Yeah. Do you find that
Ladies,
gets a
you
lot
want a
of
champion?
swiping right?
Yeah.
There's only one other person that could say they've been a 3-time champion of CFL
Like
fantasy.
on your
but
video
they could
profile?
say they're 4,
Like-
and that's Lucas. But no one else in this world can claim that.
Hey,
I don't
ladies.
believe.
He's a catch.
My name and Sacramento Gold Miners is on the jersey 3 times, and only one other name's on there more than me. And after this year, it will be equal to that other person because they let me have such a great team.
Wow.
My wide receiver, running back, Canadian depth, unmatched. It's high-end talent, too.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
We thought the guy out of Miami had a hot take. This is something
This
else.
isn't a hot take. This isn't a hot take. This is just legit. I'll go read you what the Twitter poll has
Oh
to
my
say.
god!
Oh my
Your
heavens.
Twitter polling? Oh my!
We Twitter polled this. Who drafted the best? One commented Memphis Mad Dogs auto draft. Ooh, cold. Cold. 43% voting for the Gold Miners.
Oh wow! Wow. Well, the people have spoken.
Yeah.
Clearly,
All
Ladies,
40
line up.
all 43 of them.
Come to the EST studios
Yeah.
to get your
He's
chance
all yours.
at a 3-time champ.
Soon to be 4. All I'm hearing is
Matty
jealousy.
3 rings.
oh my god! You're right. That is all you're
Jealousy.
hearing.
I am
is
jealous.
just
I
our-
would love to
just
be
our
able to win
jealousy.
fantasy CFL.
Yeah, you're right.
3
Seething.
times.
Yeah. Okay.
great.
So here's my question. This Stanley Cup Final. Who has a rooting interest for one team or the other more in as far as groups in the hockey world? And I'll throw the first hot take out there. I think all 31 head coaches in the NHL, or 30 head coaches in the NHL not in it, are cheering for the Florida Panthers, and every single assistant coach and AHL head coach is cheering for Knobloch and the Edmonton Oilers, because what a contrast. You've got the lifer in Paul Maurice, the guy that, although interesting, he also replaced a guy mid-season. But if you're a head coach of a highly skilled team, are you not a little bit worried that the Oilers are going to pull this off? And all of a sudden your job just became a lot more tenuous?
In what way?
Well, because Knobloch comes in 10 games into the year and then leads them to a Stanley Cup Final. You have
I
just
understand
convinced,
what you're saying, yeah.
You've just convinced not just every GM, but more importantly, every owner out there that if you believe your team is better than what it's showing, what's the first thing you should do? You should fire your head coach.
I
understand
will
what you're
disagree with that only because you look at how many changes in coaching we've had in the last 3 years. There's been a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
They already are thinking that hockey. Paul Maurice is a recent head coach for the Panthers. They've made that change. Andrew Burnett was coaching that team really well, and they made a change. That is what it is.
Yeah,
I don't
but-
think it changes. I don't think if the Oilers go win the cup, all of a sudden
You don't
we're going to
think
see
it
more coaches
reinforces-
getting fired. No, I think if Paul Maurice goes wins the cup, it also somewhat reinforces that you could go. You could make that change and within a couple of years win the cup.
See, and I
Because
think
Paul Maurice, this is year 2 of Paul Maurice, I think there. So back-to-back cup appearances.
Yeah.
So make that change. Like when we look at the tenured coaches in the National Hockey League, it's ridiculous in a terrible way.
yeah. Like
NHL.
I wonder if part of the touchiness that we saw from Pete DeBoer had anything to do with the fact that he knows that he was being outcoached by a guy who came in early in the season, and his ownership group, his general manager next year, if they have any sort of a flatlining, his job just became tougher, or at least more insecure.
I would agree with you to a sense. I think it just makes everybody's jobs a little bit less secure.
Yeah. Well,
Because it already happens. So like Maddie said, it already happens. And people are already thinking this way, and coaches don't necessarily get a runway. Like previous to this, you might say, okay, well, I've got a really good relationship with my coach. Like, let's look at Brindamore, for example. Brindamore has had great regular season teams, got into the playoffs, can never get it done. He just got rehired. But
he got rehired because he didn't want to go anywhere else.
100%. But if you're that ownership group, you should be saying, well, hold the phone. Like, maybe they need a new voice.
Yeah.
Does it now... Where do you get to a point now where you sit there and you say, okay, well, Knobloch's come in and, hey, Brindamore, you've just got a new contract, but guess what, buddy? If you don't come out of the gates hot and you're one of the best teams, you might get snipped.
Although they are a notoriously cheap organization.
They're so cheap.
Yeah, they are so notoriously cheap. I don't know if they would pay to have a head coach not be coaching.
Correct. But I there's that old school that still has that little bit of like, here's that little bit of leash because we got, good relationship between the owner, GM, coach. Players like certain guys, but I do think it's becoming a little bit more, I guess, less challenging to say, let's make the change right now.
Yeah.
But I would also put it into perspective of there's only probably a certain amount of teams that would say we're true contenders. The others thought they were true contenders at the start of the season. And I think everybody put them in that, and even their own captain said it's cup or bust.
Yep.
There's
so
a
I think
lot
that's part of it.
Well, there's a lot of teams that have won cups with coaching changes in the last 10 years or whatever we could point to. Dan Bilesma came in and he did it.
Yep.
Daryl Sutter did it. Joel Quenneville did it. Craig Berube
But all
did
those
it.
teams were contenders at the start of the year.
And that's what I was saying. So the Oilers doing but also Chris Knobloch, he was hired November 12th, 2023. There have been 11 other coaching changes since.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So I think in hockey it's already that way. When you look at John Cooper is the longest tenured. He's from 2013. Mike Sullivan was hired in December of 15. Jared Bednar, August of 16. Rob Brindamore, May of 18. Then it goes Marty St. Louis, February of 2022. Now the only one in there is Wikipedia has Andre Tierney because it's the new team. They've switched him. He would have been hired when? Because he's been around 21, 22. So in the 20s. Anyone hired before the 20s of 2020 or later, there's only 4 coaches that are longer before that. That's it. Yeah. Hockey is already at that point. We've gone to a point where you make the changes. So whether Paul Maurice wins or whether Chris Knobloch wins, I don't think it changes the shift of hockey. Yep. We're already gone that way where a team will make that change quickly, no matter what. Whether it's a contender or not, if they feel they need to make that change, they're going to do it. Because again, you just even have to look at this year. Usually there's 11 new coaches since Chris Knobloch. Chris Knobloch should really be the second or third newest coach.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
Yeah.
But he's already there's 11 guys that are new to benches since him.
Those teams that are rebuilding, they'll give their coach kind of the entire year, and then they'll fire him at the end of the year, a la David Quinn, San Jose. So a little bit of a different scenario. So he still got replaced, but most of the contenders are like mid-season, boom, we need that shakeup to get going.
Yeah, it's almost, you know what?
But I think over the last few years, we've seen in mid-season so many mid-season changes.
Yeah, I think
I'm just looking at this list here of who Ottawa fired midseason, New Jersey fired midseason.
But New Jersey thought they were contender.
I know, sure. But Islanders fired midseason.
Contender, they thought.
Minnesota fired midseason, if I'm not mistaken.
Contender.
Kings fired midseason, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah.
So and the Oilers fired this season. They were a contender. So I think in this
although
hockey
Kings
season,
were a little different. He was already on the bench. They just elevated. Yeah,
but he was then an interim, and then they replaced.
They went on a ridiculously bad slump. They were challenging for the division for most of that season.
I think we've seen
they went on a slump that head
Berube
coach
was mid-season, wasn't he?
They went on the exact slump you should expect with that manager head coach.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think about 6 or 7 changes this season alone in hockey during the season, not post. During the season alone,
6.
There's about 6, I think, maybe 7. So, I think we're already there.
Yeah,
I think we've already seen, and I think that's the thing we've seen in the National Football League. Head coaches don't get long now. Not as many mid-season ones, but head coaches don't get long. I think that's just a sports thing. Soccer, it's huge that way in soccer now. You could get, they'll do it after a year. Actually, they'll do some of them mid-season.
Soccer's football's the more interesting one.
Which one? Which football?
European football.
Okay.
The rest of the world football.
Well, that's where
It's not just European; it's everywhere. Football. In that, you not just do you have manager firings, you have manager quittings. That's the thing that I love about it. I also love the fact that you have a certain amount of managers with enough status that if they feel like the team that they've been given isn't up to their snuff, they'll be like, I think I'm done too.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to fire me. I don't want to manage your team.
Yeah.
Oh, the mutual parting ways happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
It is wild.
The Paul Maurice, right?
Yep.
Paul Maurice did the same thing. Like his general manager kept giving him the same squad, and he kept being like, "This squad isn't going to get it
good
done."
enough. Yeah.
And so they had a mutual
Although,
parting.
I'll say he's a guy that doesn't get it done either in the end.
You think
He's
so?
always
Hey?
he hasn't got that ring. He gets his teams close. Him and
really-
Pete DeBoer are great coaches.
I really
but they
like
are
him.
just off of finding that Stanley Cup ring. And we'll see if Chris Knobloch took out the one. Is he going to take out Paul Maurice again, or is Paul Maurice going to finally get his ring? But you look at how many great years Paul Maurice has coached great teams.
Yeah.
But he's never actually won it. And Pete DeBoer, every team he's been at, he's been unreal.
He's improved them, yeah.
He's made them better.
Yeah.
He gets them to at least the conference finals, if not the cup finals.
Yeah.
But he's never won it.
Well,
Can't get them that last little bit that they need.
And I think we saw what that flaw was in the series against the Oilers.
Yeah,
In
you
that-
don't have McDavid, you don't have Draisaitl.
Well, not just that. Not just that.
massive flaw.
Not just that. His strength is also his weakness. His strength is
fair
that he develops a system and an environment where it's wash, rinse, and repeat, guys. Wash, rinse, and repeat. We go and we give the same effort. We do it the same way. We are calm. We are cool. We are collected. And when it comes time to panic, he doesn't know how to panic. And neither does his team. Like the body language after game 5 of that Dallas Stars team, I knew they were going to lose.
Yeah,
because
they
they
looked
defeated.
defeated.
No,
Was that
they,
after Tim Kalishaw with the Tim Kalishaw
it
thing?
wasn't that they looked defeated. They looked confused. They looked like a group of guys that were like, we're doing everything that we've always done. And they had those quotes like, we're just going to keep doing what we do and trust that it's going to work. And in the playoffs, when the other guy makes the adjustments and they have immediate dividends, and you say, well, he's made an adjustment and they're starting to impose their will, but we're not going to make any ourselves. That's a flaw. Like, and we saw it on the other side. We saw it in this town where there were certain coaching staffs that just kept rolling the exact same way and said, we're just going to trust that this is going to work.
Well, that was last coaching staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like they wanted to try different things. And Chris Knobloch's come in, and he's not afraid to make any sort of change. Whatever change he feels is necessary, he's done that.
Yeah.
And
Which
it seems
creates
like,
more accountability.
Right.
Now guys are uncomfortable. And they're like, oh, I don't want to be able to line up because I'll be the next guy to line up.
Yeah.
he's been way better than I could have expected.
Yeah.
I was completely wrong on Chris Knobloch.
Well,
Completely
the guy
wrong on
went
this
to a
guy.
Corey Perry and said, "You're not cutting it."
Yeah.
And pulled him out of the lineup. Like his general manager had put his job on the line by bringing him in the first place, and he ignores that. He ignores the Stanley Cup and the 5 trips to a Stanley Cup final on the resume, and said, "I think this guy's better than you, so I'm going to put him in front of you." And what did you see as soon as he inserted him back in the lineup? Not a guy who pouted, but a guy who realized,
went.
"Oh, I think I need to perform better."
Yep.
Like it was that part of watching Pete DeBoer and his Dallas Stars that I was like, that's the fatal flaw. He does not
Doesn't change things up.
make it uncomfortable for these guys.
Yep.
He makes it very comfortable, which is why over a regular season they pile up the wins, because you need that comfort. You need that trust that if I have a bad night, I'm not just getting yanked out, I'm given another chance. But the playoffs aren't the regular season. You need to have a higher threshold of why do you deserve to be in this lineup? Why do you deserve to be out there on the ice? And right now, it's working for the Oilers. We'll see if it continues on. I do like the fact that all the pundits are picking the Florida Panthers. I think that
Are they?
I think that, well,
I haven't looked.
Greg Wyshynski is not.
No, but he
Wyshynski-
picked the Oilers at the start of the season.
Yeah, Wyshynski is not, but for
ESPN's
most of them out there, they're just kind of like,
Stanley
no,
Cup
the Oilers have not faced a team like the Florida Panthers. And I just look at them like, you're absolutely right. But the Florida Panthers have not faced a power play like the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, so they can't
Right.
do the stuff that they've been normally doing. So you've got to play a different way.
Yeah.
This is why I just don't agree with. I don't do predictions anymore because who knows?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care that somebody's picking the Panthers. I don't care that somebody's picked the Oilers. We don't know. If any of us really were that smart at it, we'd all be living in Vegas making millions of dollars a year.
It's funny you say this. So I need to bring this up. So on the fourth period, David Pagnon, who's our insider at Hello Hockey, he's asked a bunch of guys to do predictions, spoilers. And so the last one, obviously, you've got the Rangers and you've got Florida, and that was the one where this whole conversation started. So I picked the Rangers in 7. There was I would say it was probably a 60-40 split to the Rangers.
Tie goes to the goaltender.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. That's how I was thinking. I'm like, this guy's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So anyway, local Edmonton guy comes on after and he's like, weird. All the analytical based guys got it right.
Yeah.
All the guys that are not analytically inclined got it wrong. And I'm like, this is what you want to start with? And it goes through this whole thing. So Eddie Lack, who is a former goaltender.
Yeah.
Now realtor in Scottsdale.
Now he's a realtor in Scottsdale. He's one of the
unfiltered
guys,
on Twitter.
right? And he goes, he was one of the guys that got it right. And he's like, well, I just go off a feel. And the guy's like, he starts laughing. He goes, well, what's the feel for the Dallas Edmonton game? And he's like, I don't know. And he goes, well, you really need to dive into the analytics because analytics makes hockey way more enjoyable. And you get to understand the fact that this is better than that. And you get to figure out why Reeves is better than McDavid. Let me repeat that last piece. You get to figure out why Reeves is better than McDavid.
Ballsy, I've been saying this for years.
If
I've been
you
on
can't-
this bandwagon
Sorry,
for
dude. If you can't figure out why Reeves is not better than McDavid, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't need analytics to tell me this.
Some people are contrarian for the sake of being contrarian.
Holy
Well,
man.
but it's also and I'll call out some other fans. They're all like, hey, look, see, all these people got it wrong picking Dallas. Dallas is a good hockey team.
Yeah.
There was every right to pick Dallas to win that
Yep.
series. I don't know why, and that's why I hate predictions because you're just having fun. You're just like, I think this person can win. But then you got a bunch of people that just want to come at you, like, you're stupid, you're an idiot. You didn't pick my team in the end. And look, we won, deal with it. And that's why I don't do predictions.
Yeah, somebody tricked me about it.
I already deal with enough heat for other things I say. I'm not doing it with predictions.
And I just
I'm
said I
Charles
wasn't
Barkley.
thinking clearly, and I squashed the conversation because I'm like, hey, it's a prediction. What do you want?
Yeah.
But this whole conversation about the analytics, I'm like, expected goals for and this and that. And I'm like, hockey is not as simple as baseball. Analytics, there is a spot for analytics.
Sure.
I'm not saying there's not. But hockey is different than baseball. Baseball, it's I have the ball, I throw it, I try to hit it.
Yeah. Well, the problem with analytics, and this includes baseball as well, is that there's just not a proper weighting to the stats, right? And so guys who are analytically inclined, to them, every single number that they put down in front of them is equally weighted.
Yeah.
And then that's how they make their determinations. And that's just not the case. There are certain numbers that are more important than other numbers. And so, I mean, if you're telling me that it's more enjoyable to try and break down what PDO means, to actually understand it, than just watching Connor McDavid do what he does, you shouldn't be.
If you just watched the
you
game,
shouldn't. Sports aren't for you. If that's the case,
you watched the final 5 minutes of that game 6, and you watched the Stars pouring it on as much as they can to try to tie that game, and the Oilers just trying to hang on for life. And
Analytics will never tell you that.
But it's just the entertainment part of that, the enjoyment of watching this high end hockey, the intensity of the moment, and just the crowd, everything about it was that was one of the best 10 minutes or 12, 15 minutes of my life or whatever that I've had in a long time because of just how great that was to witness. And I don't care about the numbers. I don't care that the Oilers dealt with lots.
The numbers would have
exciting.
suggested,
And
however, that Dallas was going to score. But guess what? They didn't.
But
because
even
there's so many different
and when
variables.
the Stars had some great chances and they didn't score, you're like, oh my God, that's a moment they're going to regret. That right. And it was just,
Well, this is
I
actually
value analytics a lot.
This-
I think that the Oilers are better off for now embracing it more, but it's not going to make me change how
This is what I mean about having a proper weighting to what each stat means, because I think the analytics does tell the tale of that game 6, and the number is high danger scoring chances, right? Which should be a much more determining factor on how well your team is playing.
Yes.
Than shots on goal, possession, all that sort of stuff. Like to me, to understand how your goaltender is playing, look at high danger scoring.
But then it's like, okay, so you look at the high danger scoring chances, and I think somebody posted about it was like 11-7.
Yeah.
And okay, well, I specifically remember a high scoring chance happening where Dallas had it in the high slot. I think it was a one-timer, but Nurse comes out of nowhere, takes a shot.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? If you're looking at the high danger scoring chances and from an analytical perspective, that should have been a goal.
Yeah.
You're in the high slot, you're in the house. More often than not, in the house, you're going to score.
Yeah.
The variable that happens in hockey is you have a guy out of absolutely nowhere blocking
Make a
shot,
play.
making a play.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, yes, there is a spot for analytics. I'm not shooting that down. The Oilers have done, wonders with their analytical department. But there's variables that you can't, that change the story. It changes the narrative about how things are going. I will put this one into perspective. I played for Kevin Constantine. Kevin Constantine is
Another charmer.
Is a wonderful human being. Wink, wink.
Just a
nudge,
real-
nudge. Just a real
just a good
winner.
hang.
Just awesome dude. You should probably hang out with him. But we would play against their teams. Their teams were in Everett the first year. They were hot garbage.
Yep.
Hot garbage. But what did he do? He said, okay, we're not very good, but all you guys are going to do is you're going to try to block every shot. So you have the puck on the point, you'd fake, 5 guys would go down. But then their goaltender was really good. Yep. So now you have to figure out how to go get this puck at the blue line through 5 guys. And if it got through the 5 guys, you had the goaltender that was stopping it anyway.
Yep.
Guess what? They lost in the championships to Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
Their analytics would have told you they don't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
They didn't deserve to be there, but they played a certain way. They played a certain style that allowed them to win hockey games.
Right. Yeah.
Pure and simple.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Time now to qualify someone for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest. Swing to win with EST, presented by Golf Town. Swing big this Father's Day. Find dad or yourself the perfect gift at Golf Town. Stay big with huge deals on TaylorMade in-store online now through June 9th, which is on Sunday. It includes the TaylorMade Sim 2 driver for only $330, 25% off TaylorMade bags. You could get TaylorMade RBZ Soft 12-pack 2 for $25. A lot more deals, a lot on TaylorMade. Just go check out golftown.com or visit them in store this Father's Day. Give the gift of golf. Some exclusions apply. Golftown, your ultimate destination for Father's Day. The keyword to text to 780-218-9999. It's HOOK. HOOK to 780-218-9999. HOOK. HOOK. 780-218-9999. You will go into a draw. We'll qualify someone. And then tomorrow on the morning show, we'll pick one out of today's qualifiers. That person will then be now, I think, the 8th contestant for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest. July 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club, 17th hole, 180 yards away. 25 contestants, all with a possible chance to swing for $100,000. All presented by Golf Town.
I'm assuming you guys didn't see Jacob Trouba's comments.
No.
So
This today?
Did you
These
see
recent comments?
This was very recent.
Oh, okay.
So do you guys see the Spit and Chicklets where they had a couple guys? It was Pasha, I believe. Can't remember his. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to do it. So I don't want to disrespect the guy by doing that. But they basically, the topic was, is Jacob Trouba the worst captain in NHL history? And they went off on him. They went off on him.
This is a group of guys that probably are not speaking from a position of knowledge of what it takes to be a captain.
Like, guys, they go off on him. And they're talking about literally everything that he does away from the rink and stuff like that. Like, you should definitely, like, the first thing I saw was he sucks at hockey. He's lost in the D zone. He looks like a lost puppy. Oof. So
God, he's going to look real good somewhere else, isn't he?
Amazing. So Jacob Trouba.
When the Rangers retain half his salary
Oh
just
my
to move him
God.
out of he's going to look awesome somewhere. Like,
So Trouba comes out today, an hour ago, and says suicide rates have doubled in the past 20 years in U.S. college athletes. Within U.S. college athletes, 11 days ago, a PGA Tour golfer tragically took his own life after a mental health battle, and people asked how that was possible. We must do better than this.
yeah, I think he's kind of right.
Because like they go at him.
Yeah. But the other thing is, Jacob, just get off social media. Like, if this place is making you feel that way, then don't be in this place. Like, that's the other thing. Like,
Well, there's a line because when you're in a professional sport or there's going to be criticism. And there's also a line where when does criticism go too far?
Well, and that's kind of the point
the
of this
thing.
conversation is that, okay, so
Because the criticism should be fair. If you're a professional athlete, like you're signing up to that job where there is a lot of attention, and that's how you get paid. So,
But that's
handsomely,
the algorithm,
is that
right?
there is media, there's radio, there's TV, there's newspapers, there's now bloggers, there's social media where they comment on your play. But there is that line where maybe we do take this too far, and there is what we've learned with mental health that we shouldn't go as far as we.
But
sometimes
that's the
do.
algorithm that we exist in if you're on social media. It is not about criticism. It is about hot take.
Yeah.
And hot takes are not, I think he struggled in this year's playoffs. Hot takes are, he's a terrible hockey player.
It's being Stephen A. Smith.
Right.
Well,
Like,
okay,
Going as
so
far as you can with it sometimes.
trying to read this as quickly as it goes. So right now I paused it at he runs around. He looks like a lost puppy. He just sees a puck and he chases it. If he didn't have the C and that contract, he wouldn't be playing. If I was Laviolette, I would rip the C off his chest and stick it on Vinny Trocheck right now because he's heart and soul of that team. If Ranger fans knew anything about hockey, they should be praying he got suspended for the Rodriguez hit just to get him out of the lineup. He's that bad. And then you look at Reinhart punches in the face at the end, and he doesn't know how to handle that, and he goes and cries to the ref immediately. He got a taste of his own medicine. Then you talk about this Messier Leadership Award. Oh, I was going to ask about leadership on the ice, being a complete liability and taking penalties. After this minor last night, Trouba has taken 11 penalties this postseason. The next player with as many has 8. One of the reasons in the article that he won't win it, it says Trouba and his wife, or he will win it, founded the Creative Expression Arts Program, which offers art services to adults with epilepsy and seizures. Well, you want to know the irony of that situation? Trouba's wife is a neuroscience major. Maybe Jacob should go home and get a lesson from his wife about the dangers of concussions that can lead to epilepsy and seizures before he goes around concussing guys on a daily basis. Being the dirtiest player in the league, it's insane.
Dirtiest player in the league, really?
oh,
And he's a scumbag.
Dirtiest of the league?
he's a bit of a predator out there.
That's the.
Oh,
that's
he's a definite predator. There's more, and so then they continue to go. But
Jacob
I would go
Trouba doesn't
dirtiest.
need
I won't put him at the
me to
worst.
defend him for the hits that
No,
he's thrown
but
in
it's
the last
like,
couple
okay,
of years.
so-
He's a predator.
I won't put them at the very bottom, the top though of that list.
was that criticism, or was that just you going off on a rant trying to just rip him because you don't believe in what he's done?
It's an upset fan, is what it is, right? It's an upset fan who thought his team should be in a Stanley Cup Final because they all were like, it's the 30th anniversary, we're the team of destiny, and they bought in, and it didn't work out for them.
I feel like
right?
there's fair points in what was said there.
Some of them for sure,
Right?
Yeah.
And that's where it's like I'd have to.
So if I would have taken the first half of that video and I would have said, okay, this video right here, whatever, it is what it is. But then you start going towards the leadership award that he's been nominated
why
for.
do people care?
Which is like, this
Who
is
cares
an
about the
off
Mark Messier
off the
Leadership
ice.
Award? I didn't realize that this was such a big thing.
I agree,
that
but-
so many people cared about the Mark Messier Leadership Award that Messier just picks.
Now, he didn't insult the guy's wife, but he brought up the guy's wife. That was probably the area that probably flipped it for a guy like
Turns it from
Trouba.
criticism to something else.
That makes it feel personal, right? Like as soon as you start bringing up any guy's family in part of your criticism, even if you're not critiquing the family, it just hits the brain difference.
Just
right?
find it so weird, like why we need to go down that path.
Because he's already mentioned it. It's
First
the
of
hot
all,
take world. It's the Skip Bayless.
everything
it's
that
the
he's
Stephen A.
saying is the exact same thing that is being said at bar tables throughout New York today.
Fair, but didn't it come out that he had a broken ankle? That he played on a broken ankle?
We exist in a media universe, though, where anyone can pick up a phone, turn on the camera, and all of a sudden you're a sports commentator, right? Like that's part of it is the ease of access for anyone to do just like we're doing right now is as low as it's ever been. There are no more gatekeepers. And as we are slowly finding out in this new media environment, sometimes gatekeepers are not a bad thing. Like sometimes having somebody outside of the view of the camera going, that's too far is not necessarily a bad thing. Like newspapers need editors, right?
Yeah.
Shows need producers, right? And right now we exist in an editor-free and a producer-free world as far as our media diet.
Oh, I could just go to what we dealt with. It's like back in the day in radio, you had to either sit down, write a letter, mail it. So you have lots of time to think about, do I really want to send this?
Yes.
Or you got to call a radio station.
Yeah.
Talk to a producer.
Yeah.
Sit on holds and go, do I really want to say this?
Yeah.
And nowadays with texting, it's you hear something stupid in your mind.
Yeah.
It's just a quick send.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Well,
And
and
it's just it's that instantaneous and that quicker. That's where we've gone with this world. So it's easier to your point.
Yeah.
It's everyone's got access and it's hot takes and there's no filters anymore. And there's no thought process needed anymore because you could just get whatever you're thinking, you can now just throw out there instantaneous.
I'm gonna gross us out here for a second. Do you know what fecophilia is? Do you know what fecophilia is an actual mental disorder where you are obsessed with poop. You're obsessed with everything about it.
You would know this.
And
I guess.
And the problem with Twitter and a lot of social media, but specifically Twitter, because of the guy who owns it, is he has handed it over to fecophiliacs.
Yeah.
And so even if you don't like poop, you are existing in an environment where that's all that it is you are dealing with fecophiliacs no matter what. They are spreading it up. So even if you don't want to touch the stuff, you get it on you just by being in that place, right?
And that's the point to what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Like if I was a pro athlete, I would have a social media account that my agent or some PR rep would handle to post any sort of PR stuff they need to throw out there.
Yeah.
But I would not touch it one bit.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Which is interesting because the new athletes are all about brand and getting out there and making sure they're visible and they're seen, which then brings more attention to them, which gets them more money,
but
which gets them more,
I guess it's on the app,
so
though. I
forth.
guess it would be. I think athletes are trending towards Insta, where
Not necessarily.
I don't think it's as much on the Twitter as much anymore. I think the younger are going to Instas, and it's just pictures,
And
it's
TikTok.
not.
Yeah.
You don't have to. I think there's less you would see on Instagram than on Twitter, where you get the notifications and the messages, and you could just see a bunch of stuff about you.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
the For You page, if you click that one back, and all of a sudden you could see you, and it's just.
I don't disagree with you that there is a generational thing happening, but how much of it is also agents as well, who are going to their young athletes going, you got to increase your exposure.
Well, I think
You
that's
got to get out there.
That's
Like
partly what
if we
it
want
is.
the shoe deal, if we want the alcohol deal, if we want any of this, you need to create a name for yourself. Like, and your exploits on the athletic field or ice or whatever are what gets people to first check you out. But if you want to be significant,
You got to be that personality.
You gotta
that's
be that
out there, and
personality.
You got to be the guy that's answering hard questions or maybe saying something outlandish. Like, hey, I think Bissonnette has done a fantastic job of building his brand and becoming where it is, but like, it's all just outlandish.
yes, absolutely, yeah.
And he's super smart. Like he's a great human being. I've known him for a long time. He's awesome. But what he did was that when he was playing in Phoenix, right? I think it was his last year, maybe his last 2 years. He just started going out on the streets.
He created Biz Nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He went out on the
created
streets and he's
Biz Nasty.
interviewing all these different people, and he's he created it, and now boom.
He's a little different in that the motor that runs him is likability,
Yes.
right? Like no one listens to Paul Bissonnette because of his hockey pedigree,
Fair.
right? He has a stake in the game in that he was on the ice, but no one is going to him because no one could do what Paul Bissonnette did. Well, you go to him because he's likable.
Yep.
Because you see him and you're like, I don't know what it is, but there's a charisma, there's a charm there. Whereas there are so many people in general, that it has nothing to do with charm. It has everything to do with hate. Like, you see a guy, it's the Howard Stern effect, right? Howard Stern was famous for people who liked him would listen to him for 1 hour, and the people who hated him would listen to him for 3.
Yeah, just to
And
find something.
Just to find something to hate even more. And that is the toxic part of social media, is that a lot of the celebrity that's out there is based upon, well, the Paul brothers, for example. A lot of the celebrity is based upon the fact that a lot of the people that follow them just want to see them fail, are just waiting for the moment where they can finally feel like they got their comeuppance, right? Heck, that's why half the people would tune in to watch him fight Tyson. You want to watch Tyson knock his head off.
Yep.
You're not tuning in for the boxing. You're tuning in for maybe, just maybe this time, that guy gets his comeuppance. And that's the toxic nature of it. And which is what leads to posts like that, where it's kind of like, well, I'm not the most charming guy in the world, so I'm going to say something so toxic that it gets feedback, even if it's because people hate me.
Well, you want the views and the clicks too.
Yeah.
You just want that to be seen.
Yeah. Our buddy
'Cause
Bob
now
Stauffer would always say that. He would always be kind of like, as long as they feel something for you, love or hate, right? The last thing you want to do is have people have no opinion of you. And I may personally disagree with that as a model for your life, but he's not wrong when it comes to
he's right when
the
it comes
current
to that.
media
Yeah.
environment.
Oh, even before.
Yeah.
Even before. Like, it's always, you don't want the indifference, because then there's no reason for them to tune in necessarily.
Well, the original shock jock, that was the way that shock jocks made their money, right?
I know what it's like.
They would go from city to city, piss off their listenership, increase their ratings, and get fired, and then move to
And then
another
go to the
city.
next one.
Yeah.
I know it's like to be hated.
Yeah.
You do, Matty?
I know.
People don't like you?
No.
Why?
I know.
His mother always loves him. That's
It's her
all he
birthday
needs.
today. Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Iwanyk. That's lovely.
Yeah,
She's
no kidding.
38 today.
Oh, look at you go.
Anyone got some birthday plans for you? If not, just let me know. I'd take that Mrs. Iwanyk out for a nice seafood dinner. That's for sure.
There will be a family get together tonight. Don't worry, Will. We're all good.
Man,
Happy
that's
birthday, Mom.
amazing.
Disregard Will just sit there. Congratulations to James. He's the qualifier for the $100 hole-in-one presented by Golf Town. 2 more chances to qualify Lock Shop Oil Stream today. And then we'll call our 8th contestant tomorrow morning. And then qualify as well again tomorrow throughout the day. Reminder tonight, we've got Edmonton Riverhawks, 7:35. They continue their series out against...
You got this.
Well, I
on,
always
buddy.
forget who it is. Like, I know I'm going to mispronounce it wrong. It's River something. Ridgefield. It's not even River. Ridgefield.
River Ridge.
It's Ridgefield.
Ridges of rivers.
One last night. They're in action 7:35 tonight, right here at Edmonton Sports Talk. Stingers next in action Sunday at the Expo, and then the Edmonton Elks. Go get your tickets now. Go Elks.com. Ticketmaster. Their home opener is this Saturday, and also a reminder: the Green and Gold kickoff post-game shows live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, just off 400 Road. Myself, Jay Milne. We are back talking some Elks, and it's going to be a fiery first show. I can tell you that right now because Jay and I already disagree. On something pretty significant.
Is that a
What
tease?
is it?
Like, what
What's the quarterbacking?
Oh, okay.
We are completely on
And
opposite
what's your hot
sides of it.
take on it?
You like Ford?
I think they screwed up this offseason. They should have built a team around Trey Ford, not when and got McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Not that I have issues with McLeod Bethel-Thompson. I think he's a fine quarterback. I don't think his upside is that great that I would rather develop Trey Ford still. That's my
Yeah,
take.
sure.
And so
That's not a hot take.
I didn't say it was a hot take.
give
Will.
us a hot take.
Jones doesn't like him.
And Jones is
So that's
wrong.
the problem.
then. And Jones should lose his job potentially this year because of that.
That's almost a hot take.
The hot take is he'll be
You
fired.
qualified it with the potentially. You
Oh,
want
'cause
a
you
hot
never
take?
go- you're not going
You gotta
all the way.
make it like.
I'm not going all the
you
way.
say, buddy.
It's I need. He could be fired after the bye week, which is in week 5, or going to
He
through
could
that bye week.
just
What
could
would
be.
it take for
make
him
an
to get
absolute
fired?
statement.
If they go 0-4 to start the season, I don't know how you continue.
Oh, you think he lasts 4?
Yes,
Oh, interesting.
because the bye week is right there. The
Yeah.
bye week's coming, so you get Saskatchewan, you get Montreal, you get Toronto, you get BC. I think the turnaround might be a little too quick that you just, if you're Rick Lawlisher, if you're the team, knowing that new ownership's coming, you might just sit there and go, if I'm bringing someone in, I could do that. They get the bye week to get accustomed to the team. Or whether it's just on the staff, and then you deal with it from there.
Isn't the history of him
1-3 it depends on how the 3 losses would come, but I think a 1-3 could potentially do it. The only thing that I could see saving Chris Jones is the fact that after the bye week, they get Ottawa twice, they get Hamilton in there, they get Saskatchewan in there. So there are some chances to recover, but you go 0-4. I don't know how you could keep Chris Jones.
Isn't the MO on Chris Jones, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm out of the loop on this, but the history of Chris Jones is he is either hot garbage or the most dominant team in the CFL.
No.
Like there's no middle ground.
I won't put that there. No, because whenever it's been hot garbage, he's gone to hot garbage and he's building it up.
No, but that's what I'm saying is like it's one or the other.
Like his teams have never been just mediocre. They've either
there's
been
no middle
trash
guy
or the best.
But that also I've never seen him build a bad team. This is the first time to me he's potentially now has built a bad football team. Last year was his football team, and it was a bad football
Which is why I can't believe he would last even 4 games, because I would kind of feel like if he loses the first 3, you know what this year's team is.
But the benefit is that you've gone against, well, I guess I can't throw Saskatchewan there. You might look at, if you're the team, and go, 1, we have new ownership coming in, so why don't we just wait for them to make a decision? Or 2, there is a decent schedule where they could pick up wins and get back into it.
Yeah.
Do you let Chris Jones to go through that? We'll see. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm very scared about this season.
These are terrible hot takes.
Yeah, they're
I don't.
Stand by
There's
your
my
words,
hot
Matty.
take. Matthew Iwanyk couldn't hot take himself out of a paper bag.
I'm not, because it's not there just yet. I'm not there just yet. I haven't seen this team play. I don't know what this team looks like with MBT. I need at least a
You
game.
think that means anything for a hot take? In fact, it's better if you've never seen the team
I'm not
play.
trying to be Stephen A. Smith.
It's a more ridiculous hot take if you have no basis for what you're saying, i.e. Connor McDavid is overrated.
Jack Campbell should start game 1 for the Oilers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No one's expecting that.
Don't put that out there.
You're
No
right.
one's
That thing's
expecting
gonna
it.
get.
You're right.
That thing's gonna get.
No
clipped.
No
one's
one is
expecting
expecting that. Shock the entire world. Don't even tell anyone.
They just skate out. The
He
Florida
doesn't even-
Panthers skate out there, and they're just in their jaws drop.
He doesn't even take the optional morning skate on Saturday.
Oh my heavens!
He just comes out and it just is in the net. Boom. There, you want that hot take?
I like that hot take. Here's my hot take. We shouldn't have been surprised by the Dallas Stars not getting out of the third round against the Oilers, because their win against Colorado was not actually them defeating Colorado.
You think it was Colorado?
That was Colorado blowing up from inside.
Valerie Nichushkin destroyed the team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was a locker room that blew up mid-series.
They weren't happy, I can tell you that.
Jeez.
Chris Sadaway does also ask, so Matt, does Canada get a result against Netherlands tomorrow? Big friendly, Canadian men's national team.
Actually,
Canada, Netherlands tomorrow, 12:45. No.
This is an area that I wanted to go to as far as rooting interests. Hockey Canada is rooting for the Oilers, not just because they're the Canadian National Hockey League team, but they're rooting for the Edmonton Oilers because of one player. Can you name who that one player is?
Stuart Skinner.
Stuart Skinner.
For being the starting goalie.
Exactly. If you are Hockey Canada and you're going into this next run of elite international competition, what's your biggest question mark? And what gets answered if the Oilers
I think
win
it already
Stanley
got
Cup?
answered.
Well,
because we had Jim Nill on Hello Hockey, and we asked him, so what do you think about the goaltending? And he named Aiden Hill, Skinner, and Binnington as the 3 goaltenders.
Yeah.
And so then the question mark goes
Binnington didn't have the best World Hockey Championship.
Correct. But those are still your 3 goaltenders.
Oh, it
and
doesn't
then
change.
If you look at the course of this series, I think there's a certain point where people question Skinner, but then he comes back against the exact team.
Yep.
That the GM of that team is going to be the guy that's putting it together.
Yeah.
I think you just solidified yourself.
Yeah, but you also took away any of the criticism for having him in between the pipes ahead of anyone else, because you're going to sit there and say, listen, the guy knows how to win. He knows how to win in front of incredibly talented hockey teams, which sometimes...
Aiden Hill would have that argument too, though.
Yeah, you're right.
To me, because Hill would have a ring potentially. It's how
Binnington
are
has
those
a-
playing? Like, I'll look at 4 Nations for next year, whatever the heck that tournament's called. How are they playing to start next season?
Yeah.
That will decide. I think starter backup Binnington is the third.
Yeah.
I would think. I think it's going to be between Hill and Skinner.
You think think so?
I do.
Hey,
Yeah.
see, I think
it'll be
I
between
think if
those two.
Skinner has a Stanley Cup from this spring, to me, you just look at that if you're Hockey Canada and go, he has the exact mindset we need from a goaltender.
I also don't think goaltending matters.
He's
that
not.
much.
He's not a rhythm goaltender. He is not. He is just calm, cool, and collected. And
Yeah,
that's what you need more than anything for a Team Canada. You just need a guy that is not your worry, right? You don't know if he's going to win you any hockey games, but he's not going to be the guy that loses yet.
I think that you're probably hot take.
Yeah,
I think you're probably looking at Aiden Hill as your starter.
He's
interesting.
probably in there, by the way.
That's not hot take then.
Damn it.
Hot take would be Aiden Hill will be the starter for Team Canada.
I don't know if I can do that.
See?
It's going to depend on who's playing better, I think, between Hill and
Lukewarm
Skinner.
takes all day
in
long.
the next one. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. What's your hot take on who wins the Stanley Cup?
I picked the Oilers at the beginning of it, so I'm sticking with it. In 4 or 6.
It's not really a hot take.
Which one? You go 4. That's a hot take.
Well, they will win on home ice. So they can only win on home ice in a game 4 or a game 6.
I've got Oilers in 6.
Okay.
I don't make predictions.
I'm not betting against McDavid.
No, why would
Ever.
you? Yeah.
That's the close.
Especially after that dum-dum down there in Florida
Greg Cody.
said he's overrated.
I said this. This is as close as I've gotten to prediction. I've said this for a couple rounds. I don't see, because of legacy, McDavid or Leon being only 4 wins away from a cup now, not just going all out to snag that cup.
Justin Bourne over at Sportsnet wrote an article before the last series about why he was picking the Oilers, and his point was just basically that what you don't realize is it's once you get this deep into the playoffs, it's not about systems. It's about top end talent, because this is when the separation happens, because everyone is beat up. Everyone is a step slower than they should be. Everyone is mentally and emotionally exhausted. And so the people with the true talent, the true high-end skill, that gap gets bigger the deeper you go into the playoffs. And I actually like his take. I think I agree with it, that this is where talent shines through. Is the first round is where the upsets happen. The finals is where it doesn't happen.
And the Oilers also have fans that are willing to go above and beyond to make sure that the atmosphere is electric.
Yeah. Yeah, a tale of two cities. Like, even Dallas was a bit of a cavern at times.
Yeah.
But Florida, I'm sure the Florida fans that show up are going to cheer their team. They're going to be excited for it, but it's not going to be Mardi Gras the entire time that they're going to and from the rink.
I think
and what
that
have you.
Mardi Gras may happen more often
Yeah.
than not now.
Yeah.
Based on the fact of how popular particular person has become.
Yeah.
So I would expect an electric atmosphere in Rogers.
And I think they'll travel. I think they'll travel as well.
I'm intrigued by that one, because it's not an easy
Yeah.
travel, I don't believe.
No.
Coming up next here on Edmonton Sports Talk, it will be the Lock Shop. Haas P. Greg, I'm assuming, get you set for the golf weekends. I do have to build an EST parlay for this series, so I got to do that this afternoon. If you have any thoughts on that, 780-218-9999, shoot them my way. And then at noon, myself, Tom Gazzola, we got the oil stream right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Bellsy, Will, thanks for coming in. This was
pleasure.
fun.
Pleasure.
On behalf of Shawn, Will, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning into the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots. As I said, Lock Shop coming up next year on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports. That's going to be starting in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here, joining us today.